It started as an ordinary afternoon outside the local park. Laughter, the sound of bouncing basketballs, and the smell of fresh grass in the air. But within minutes, that peace would shatter. A group of teens cornered a small boy near the fence, their taunts slicing through the air. His skin color made him their target. They didn't see fear. They saw someone they could humiliate. What they didn't know was that his older sister was only a few steps away. And she wasn't just any girl. Years of discipline, sweat, and quiet strength had shaped her into something far more potent than they could imagine. What happens when hate collides with a heart trained for justice? Watch until the end. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Her name was Zara Williams, 17 years old, quiet, focused, and fiercely protective of her little brother, Jaden. Every day after school, she walked him home through the same park, a shortcut they'd taken for years. Jaden was 10, full of energy, always talking about comic books and superheroes. Zara would smile and listen, knowing that, in her own way, she was training to become one herself, not with capes or powers, but through discipline and respect. Zara had been studying martial arts since she was 8. Her father, a retired military trainer, believed that strength wasn't just physical, it was moral. He taught her to stand tall even when the world tried to push her down. But in their small town, being black often meant being seen, not heard. People smiled, but their eyes lingered too long. That day, Zara was distracted, scrolling through her phone while Jaden ran ahead toward the playground. She didn't see the group of boys waiting near the fence. She didn't hear the first insult. Not yet. Jaden had just wanted to play. He carried his basketball, worn but precious, and asked if he could shoot a few hoops. The older boys looked at each other and smirked. They were local troublemakers, always hanging around, picking on younger kids. But that day, it wasn't just teasing. It was something darker. One boy grabbed the ball. "This court ain't for your kind," he muttered, tossing it over the fence. Jaden froze. Another stepped closer, blocking his path. "What's wrong, scared?" Their laughter echoed. Jaden's chest tightened. He'd heard those words before. Not at school, not from friends, but from strangers who looked at him differently. He turned to leave, but one of them shoved him from behind. He stumbled, landing hard on the pavement. His palms scraped against the rough ground. The laughter grew louder. One boy mimicked him, falling dramatically, calling him weak. Another pulled out a phone to record. A few bystanders noticed but did nothing, eyes down, pretending not to see. The world kept turning. Then came the breaking point. The tallest boy grabbed Jaden's collar and whispered something so cruel, so filled with hate, that Jaden's small body trembled. Tears formed, not from fear, but from humiliation. That's when Zara heard it, her brother's cry. It wasn't loud, but to her it cut through the air like a scream. She dropped her phone and ran. Her father's lessons flooded back in a single heartbeat. Control, awareness, never strike first. But never let injustice stand. When she arrived, her heart sank. Jaden was surrounded, his face red, eyes wide with shock. The boys turned toward her, laughing. "What, you gonna tell your mommy?" one said. But Zara didn't flinch. Her posture changed, calm, deliberate, eyes locked. The bullies didn't notice the subtle shift in her breathing. The storm was coming, and they didn't even know. The tallest boy stepped forward, puffing his chest. "You gonna stop us?" he sneered. Zara said nothing. Instead, she helped Jaden up, her hand steady. Then she looked back at the group, eyes burning, but voice calm. "Apologize," they laughed. One pushed her shoulder. That was the moment the balance shifted. In less than a second, she moved, a blur of precision and control. Years of training unleashed in a disciplined rhythm. A step to the side, a wrist lock, a clean takedown. The boy hit the ground before he realized what had happened. Another lunged. She redirected him, sending him stumbling into the fence. Her movements weren't violent, just efficient. Every motion sharp, controlled, purposeful. The laughter stopped. Phones dropped. The leader tried to stand, anger twisting into disbelief. "You crazy or something?" he spat. Zara stood tall. "No," she said softly. Just tired of seeing people like you think you can do whatever you want." For a long moment, no one spoke. The other kids who had been watching, silent witnesses, began to film, not out of mockery this time, but awe. The bullies backed away, faces red with shame. Hate had met discipline, and lost. The police arrived minutes later, called by someone in the crowd. By then, the boys had scattered, but the video, Zara's stand, had already spread. That night, clips of the confrontation flooded social media. "Black girl protects her brother from racist bullies." The comments poured in. Some praising her bravery, others criticizing the violence, missing the more profound truth. Zara didn't care for fame. All she cared about was Jaden, safe, shaken, but smiling again. Her father's words echoed in her mind. "Strength isn't about fighting. It's about standing when others stay silent." The school later suspended the bullies. The community, embarrassed by its silence, began hosting talks on racial awareness and bullying. Change didn't happen overnight, but the conversation had begun. Weeks later, Zara walked through that same park again. The air felt different, lighter somehow. A little boy waved at her, smiling. Sometimes heroes don't wear capes or uniforms. Sometimes they wear courage, hidden in plain sight. Because strength, real strength, isn't just in the fists. It's in the heart that refuses to bow. How many more Zaras will it take before the world understands that dignity should never have to defend itself? Where are you watching from? What city? What country? Take care.